Hello, friends, and welcome back to Becoming Unbound, the podcast where we dive deep into breaking free, living a life that is truly ours, and redefining freedom for ourselves. Now, I wanted to pop in today. It's just me, no guest, and let you know that season 1 of Becoming Unbound has come to a finale. This is it. So season 1, we are wrapping up. I have taken some other big leaps of faith, and that means that I need to have a little bit more time on my plate and carve out that time to really dive deep into the next big leap of faith that I have made. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my journey today and thank you for being a part of this community and what this first season of Becoming Unbound has truly meant to me. So I started this podcast as a dream and a hope, and I had a little piece of cover art that I had designed by myself up on the wall for a very long time. I had envisioned this studio space. I had at one point even envisioned doing in-person recordings in my living room. And I have to say that I made that all happen. Now, there were some nudges from friends. There was times when I felt I was absolutely not ready for what I was about to do. And either way, I freaking did it. And I couldn't be more proud of myself just for taking that big leap. And this is what this podcast is truly all about. It is about taking that leap of faith and knowing that it's not going to be perfect. It is going to be messy. There are going to be moments where you are just like, what the heck am I doing? And that held true this whole season. I was pushed into doing in-person recordings with my lovely friend Ola, who was a guest on the podcast. If you haven't gone to go check that out, please do. It's, I look back on that episode and it's not perfect. There was a lot of things that I learned, but gosh, am I glad that I actually did that. And I just listened to that voice in my head that said, you know what, you can do this and you can figure it out. And I think that's one of the messages that I want to hit home today is that through all of this, I just figured it out. And I took the leaps of faith as they came, the little voices in my head that said, yeah, you can do this. And they were real. And it turns out that surprise, surprise, I could do all of this. So I just wanted to sort of give myself a bit of a pat on the back in this one. And there are going to be more leaps of faith. Our journey of healing and understanding who we are and becoming more of our authentic self, that never stops. And I'm so happy to be on this journey. Honestly, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There have been some moments of darkness, of late nights editing my own podcast while managing to edit everyone else's podcast. And I love it. I love every second because every single day is a brand new day to begin something that I don't know if I'm doing it right when there's no model for what I'm doing here, but I'm doing it anyways, and I absolutely love it. And so if you are thinking about, taking that leap of faith, whether it is leaving that job or just having a conversation with someone who you just know is going to be a bit of a more challenging conversation, seriously, do it because there's magic on the other side of it. There really is. And I have to say that through this podcast, speaking to all of the amazing guests that I have had, it's like every single episode was just dropped in my lap and it was the exact right sort of thing that I needed for myself. I feel like you guys have resonated so much with the episodes. I love hearing your feedback and everything kind of just, I don't know, it seems cheesy, but everything has just kind of worked out, but it has taken this blind faith in myself, in our higher power, God, source, universe. I'm going to go ahead and call it God. And for me, it is just having that faith that, you know what, it's going to work out. And whether I need to go back and change things up or switch the structure or whatever it is that I feel like I am doing and maybe it's not working and it's messy and there are mistakes. That's the whole beautiful part of becoming unbound is that there is no path that's perfectly, designed for you. You need to do this. And I know that you can, find resources and coaches and all that kind of stuff. And And it's all about taking every little thing that you learn, whether it's a podcast that you listen to, or a book that you read, or a conversation that you have with a friend, or a coach that you hire. All of that is so valuable. And in that new life of creating freedom for yourself, one thing I will say is that sometimes it doesn't feel free in the nitty gritty details of the day, or in, the spaces where you are tired and you are, working overtime to start a business, or you're working on a new vision for what you're doing in your life. Like sometimes it's not always going to be like emotionally sound and peaceful. Sometimes it is scrappy and it is messy. And now that I look back on those scrappy, messy parts, I'm happy that they happened. And I read this amazing book, The Obstacle is the Way. And it is so true that those who are successful in life, they really do see obstacles and challenges as the way forward, as moving through them. So whether that is, you have a boss that you don't feel valued by, like having that conversation is the way through finding that value. And whether that shows you that, you do need a new job, or whether you reach a whole new understanding of who your boss is, that's the beauty of it, because you had the conversation and you did the hard, scary thing. So in doing hard, scary things, it can seem like it's impossible. It can seem like our emotions just want to take over and tell us that we can't do it, that we're not cut out for this, or that version of ourselves isn't present, or whatever it may be, whatever story it is that you are telling yourself. I get it and I hear you, and it's valid. And it's also okay to say and look to God and look to your higher self and say, you know what would my higher self do in this situation? And I feel like 99% of the time, it's have that hard conversation. It's make that leap of faith. It's put out that feeler to that person that maybe you just had like a rumbling, like, I just have to reach out to this person. I don't know what it is, just have to talk to them. And who knows what piece to the puzzle that is, right? Like it could be so many beautiful things could come after that. But if you don't do that thing, how are you ever going to know what's on the other side of that? And so living this unbound life where we are breaking free from the structures that have held us, the patterns that have held us, and turns out a lot of them are created by ourselves, or the traumas that we have experienced, that's our responsibility. And with that responsibility comes the doing of the actions that lead us to these beautiful places and these magical places that, like, wow, I'm so glad I went through that hard thing, because now not only am I able to actually do more hard things because I'm like, oh, I proved to myself that I can do it, but there's also other outcomes. There's ripple effects into the collective consciousness, into your own life, into pouring that energy into yourself again to make this unbound journey just that much juicier. And I'm so excited that I have been able to put myself out there and as a testament to what is possible. Like, I think back a year from now, it would have been the last week of school. And I knew that I wasn't returning back to that school or to any school. And I'm actually having a very full circle moment because I'm moving. So I'm going through all of my teacher stuff and seeing all the beautiful stuff that I had held for so long, the beautiful books and the things that were going to go into a classroom one day. And it's really beautiful because I went through such a journey of teaching and I love every single moment. I mean, it was very hard. It was difficult, but every skill that I took away from that job has been a skill that I've been able to use in my new job. And I talked recently with Rachel Kalmar on the podcast about sometimes you don't know what it is that you're going to be doing, and you don't know what you are doing in these new situations. And I think it's just knowing and having faith in yourself that I am a capable human being. I have great connections with people. I trust myself. I am a trustworthy person that people can come to me and know that I'm going to show up for them in the same way that I've showed up for every single other job. And if you can take that level of radical responsibility, like, oh my gosh, the opportunities are just endless. And for me, I got into an industry I had no idea about other than the fact that I liked listening to podcasts. I went from teaching children in a kindergarten class into, you know, producing full-fledged podcasts, creating studio spaces in my living room for not only myself, but now for my clients. It's really incredible. And it's also one of those things where, I look back and it's like all those things that I learned through being a teacher, managing timelines, making sure that deadlines and report cards were put out on time to clients or parents to be able to communicate new things to children, to produce new ideas, to stay on track with a timeline and get that curriculum out by the end of June. Like all of those things kept my little classrooms exactly what they needed to be. And now it keeps my business running exactly the way it needs to be. I think back to those times when children were having a hard time. They weren't seeing the results, or they were feeling down on themselves, or they made a mistake. I do all those things with my clients now. And it's incredible to sort of see how all of those systems and the organization that I had in the classroom was exactly everything that I needed. Like I already had everything that I needed inside of me. And it was just knowing and trusting in myself to be like, no, I've got this. I will figure this out. I have put out multiple fires in a classroom and in schools. Any fire that I put out in my own business with whatever client I'm dealing with or my own podcast, it can be dealt with because I know I have the capability of doing that. So that is just what I want to sort of leave you with at the end of this season. Is the inspiration to go out and do that frickin' hard thing that you may not think you have the opportunities to do or the capabilities of doing, but like, I know that you can do it absolutely and wholeheartedly, because if it's any testament, like I did them all. I'm doing all of them and having those hard conversations and making those big, bold moves. And whatever story it is that you're telling yourself that I can't, I don't think this is going to work out. I can't do this right now. And I've still been telling myself those stories in the last year. And then a lot of times, even in my next big leap of faith here, I was telling myself stories that I couldn't do it, that this obstacle was in the way. I was not prepared for it. I was, it's not going to be the right time. It's not going to be the right thing for me. And turns out I was the only one in my way. And then once I was able to be like, oh, I can actually take all my power back and put the moves into my own hands, then all of a sudden those stories that I was telling myself disappeared completely. And it's beautiful because now I have brought in all that energy back into myself and I'm taking on a new whole challenge, and it's really incredible. So hopefully back in season 2, I will tell you a little bit more about what this big sort of leap of faith was, and what and how it sort of worked out for me. I'm loving, what's ahead. It's unknown. It's all unknown. And I'm excited now by the unknown things and the challenges that come up for me. It's like, because I know that the hard work and the unknown things that are in my realm right now are only going to lead to new wonderful things. So season 2 will be coming probably late summer. I'm going to enjoy some beautiful time in the sunshine in Toronto, and I will be back with amazing guests, some brilliant conversations. Oh, I'm already so excited to know about, we've already, started planning into season 2, and I'm so, so excited for it. I just feel like it's going to be a whole new level up. My set behind me, if you're watching on video, if you're on, just listening in your ears right now, you can't see this, but my set might be changing, and God, I'm so excited for that. So all the biggest changes are coming. All of the unknown things are happening, and I couldn't be more excited. And if I, myself, even 2 years ago, 5 years ago, had been like, oh, you're making these big, scary changes, I don't know if she would have been ready for it, but I'm really happy to know that the me now is ready for this and ready for any new challenge in this life of becoming unbound. All right, friends, I will see you in season 2. If you are not already, follow me on Instagram, Becoming Unbound Podcast. You can find all of the latest episodes, launches, releases. It's all there. Go check back on some of the episodes that you maybe missed. If you are watching on YouTube or Rumble, give me a subscribe, follow along. If you're on Apple or Spotify, hit that follow button and you will be alerted as to when season 2 will be beginning. And if you haven't joined my Unbound Collective newsletter, that comes out every month. I'm sending out updates, podcast tips and tricks, and everything to do with living this life unbound on your terms and redefining freedom for whatever that means for you. All right, friends, we will see you on the next episode of Becoming Unbound.